And he says, I would exalt my throne. Understand what that means? I would exalt. Exalt means to glorify, to uphold. Uphold. I would exalt my throne above the stars of God's. Understand what that means? He said, I will exalt my throne. That throne is not yours, it is God's throne, Satan. I will exalt my throne, my throne, my throne, my throne. I will glorify my throne above the stars of God. I don't know what the stars of God means. Many scholars believe that it is like planets and different stars. But now he has left heaven's floor. Now he has reached above the stars of God. Then he says, I will sit. I will sit. I gotta get a chair. It's very intriguing. I'm gonna show you this. He says, I will sit in the mount of congregation in the sides of the north. I will sit. Mount congregation is where the angels will come to regularly worship God at. So when they come to worship God in heaven at the mount congregation, they will see God will be there and they will worship. He said, what I'm going to do, God, is that I'm not going to, embarrass you or anything, but I'm going to sit. Look, he went from the floor of heaven, above the stars of God. Now he's sitting next to God and the far side. He said, God, when they come to worship you, at the same time, they will worship me. Look at what he's doing. He wants to be like God. It's fine, but it's killing him. Look at what he's doing. He said, when they come to worship you, they will worship me. So when they bow down to you, they're bowing down to me, for I will be God's. And then he says, I will ascend. Again he says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. Well, what does that mean, Paul? I will ascend, climb up, which means I will take my kingdom from the earth and I will put it over top of God. Now I will sit over top of the great most high God. I will sit amongst him. I will sit over him. I will sit. 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 I will not bow down to no one. They will all bow down to me, and I will take my throne, my kingdom, and place it above God, and I will be God, and I will be great like God. And God says to him, I will be like the Most High. And God ends it off like that because God is confused now. Not that he's confused, but he's saying, Satan, hold on. You want to be in heaven, you want to exalt your throne, you want to sit next to me, be equal to me, then you want to place your throne over me, but now you want to be me. This scripture, this line of scripture lets us know that it's his desire to be God is killing him. Be like. I thought you wanted to be me. Now you want to be like me. See the confusion that Satan. See, when there's confusion in us, it kills us. It brings on depression. It brings on anxiety. It brings on all kinds of self-esteem and confidence problems. And God is saying, you are confused. You are killing yourself. You want to be me, or you want to be like me. He said, before you can get any of this off the ground, yet the word yet. Before it can be pulled off, you will be brought down to Sheol, the place of hell, place of Hades, to the lowest depths of the pits. He says, this is free of charge. I'm going to put you not in the center of hell. I'm going to put you in the sides of hell. Understand why he says this? Satan said at the Mount of Congregation, I will sit in the sides of the north. I would be in hiding. So God said, since you want to be in hiding so much, I'm going to put you in hiding in the sides of the pits. For centuries, for years, people did not believe that Satan was real. They believed that all things happened and that God was controlled. Satan is only mentioned 7 times by name in the Old Testament. But when Christ comes down, he reveals him in so many scriptures. He is spoken of more in the New Testament than in the Old Testament. He was spoken of 7 times by name in the Old Testament. Satan's desire is killing him. What desires do you have in you that are killing you? God said, yes, I want your good desires to kill the flesh in you, but not the bad desires to kill the spirit in you. It gets real fast. Genesis 3:4-5. Satan is talking, the serpent is talking to Eve, who is Satan, and they're talking, and he says to her, he said, no, the tree, and she says, no, don't eat the tree, and oh, you know, God said the tree must really die. Satan says, oh, you will not die. God knows the day that you eat of this tree, you will be like God, knowing good and evil. And the Bible says in verse 6 that she saw the tree was good to eat. It looked desirable. She desired to be like God when she was already like God, to knowing good and evil. She knew it was good to serve God and bad to evil to eat the tree. So Eve then eats the tree, eats the fruit of the tree. Does give it to Adam, and they eat, and then they stepped back and saw that they were naked. Her desire to be like God exposed her to something that she thought was bad but was good. Your desires can see something that is good as bad and something bad that is good. Her and Adam being naked was good, but when they ate of the tree after desiring to be God, they saw their nakedness as something that was bad. If you want to know how true this is, when somebody that you're in love with, your wife, your husband, or your boyfriend, when in the shower, you walk in the shower and pull that curtain back. I bet you they 9 out of 10 they'll cover up fast like that, because it is a shameful thing to them in their mind. Even though right now, while I'm teaching you, while you're watching, God's looking at us and we're butt naked in His eyesight. That's true fact. How do we know? Read the book of Romans. Paul said that all things are seen by God. Nothing is hidden. These clothes cannot hide the nakedness that God sees. He doesn't see my clothes. You see my clothes. He sees my naked body. So Eve saw what was bad, what was good, as something bad. And our desires can do that unto us. 1 Samuel 15 to 20 to 21. Saul is made king, and God tells Saul, He says, Saul, kill all 5 kings. Kill them all. Don't save no one. Saul says, okay, I killed 4, but I saved the king Agag, and I saved his cattle. And he offered up a sacrifice unto God. And God told Samuel, He said, Samuel, I repent, I reject Saul as king. Samuel comes to Saul and said, what have you done? Saul said, I have obeyed God. And Samuel said, no, you didn't, because why do I hear bleating sheep in my ear? And then he sees the king, he takes the sword, he kills the king. And then Saul says, well, I wanted to please God, so I offered a sacrifice unto God. I thought it was important. And God says, I desire obedience over sacrifice. Saul, he wanted to please God. His desire was to please God in an area that God did not want to be pleased in. Are you pleasing God in the area that He does not want to be pleased in? Do you honestly think that you paying your tithes and you doing all of this means anything, God, if you're not obeying God? God says, I desire obedience over sacrifice. And that is said by one of the minor prophets, that God desires obedience over sacrifice. And Saul desires to please God. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way he goes about it, he disobeys the words of God, thus killing him, thus he commits suicide, thus losing his kingdom, thus he was given a evil spirit that tormented him. He tried to kill David, he cursed his son, all kinds of things were happening to Saul because of his desire to please God. He was thus rejected of God. And not only does that, he never repented of his sins. David in 2 Samuel 11, 2 to 5, he's walking on top of the house roof and sees this naked woman in the tub, sexy, washing herself, water drip down her body. She stands up. He says, oh, I gotta have that. He sends somebody to go get her. She comes over. She says, I'm married. He says, I'm the king. So be it. Let's get it on like Marvin Gaye. Let's call it a day. He hits the cheeks, and then boom, a while later, she's pregnant. He calls her husband back, try to get some sleep with the wife, but he doesn't, so David kills him. A year goes by, David does not confess his sins. He marries Bathsheba. Then the prophet Nathan comes to him and tells him a parable of a rich man who stole a poor man's sheep because a friend's on the way. And even though the rich man had all of the sheep, he stole the rich man's sheep. David jumps up, the poor man's sheep. David jumps up and says, this man must die. And Nathan looks at him with a smirk and says, it's you, David. You're the rich man who robbed the poor man. David falls to the ground and asks for forgiveness. David, he desired to have another wife like Bathsheba who was so beautiful. God said to David, he said, only if you have asked me, I will have given to you. God said to you, if you would ask me for whatever you desire, I will give it unto you. No, I'm not going to give you $1 billion off the bag or $1 million, but let's do something. If you ask of me, instead of doing things on your own, your desires can kill you if you act alone. See, bad desire says, let's do it on our own, while a good desire says, let's trust in God to help us out. So David does this, and does. God said this, your child in the belly of Bathsheba should die. Not only that, but the sword should not depart from your house. His son Anani rapes the daughter Tamar. Tamar's brother, who was Absalom, kills her brother Anani. Absalom runs away. David brings him back. David does not confront his son. A couple years later, his son Absalom dethrones David, thus turning Israel against David. So they're in a battle of war. They're warring out. David says, don't kill him, Joab. Bring him back home to me. Absalom gets stuck in the tree with his hair, and Joab cuts the head off. Joab tells David, it's time to go back home now. Now David has Solomon, Abijah is born now, David on his deathbed. Now Solomon is to be made king. But Abijah and Joab says no, it should not be so. They tried to make Abijah the king in secret, and David must now anoint Solomon king. So he anoints Solomon king, he tells Solomon to obey God, and do as you see fit to Joab and Abijah, who have now tried to deceive you. So David dies, and Blasi, Abijah comes to Bathsheba and says, ask Solomon, can I have my father's maidservant who was with him at his deathbed? And Bathsheba tells Solomon that, listen, if you give him that girl, then he will turn Israel against you. Thus he killed Abijah, and he killed Joab. The sword never departed from David's house, all because he wanted a woman, took another man's wife, impregnated her, then tried to kill him. His desires killed him. Not physically, because he died at an old age of 70. It killed him in himself. Last thing about Sarah in Genesis 16, 1-6. She desired to give Abraham a baby, but she was too old. So she said to Abraham, she said to Abraham, go into my maid Hagar, have a baby by her. Sarah wanted to fulfill God's purpose on her own, not knowing what she was doing. She desired to give it to him. So she gives him Hagar, sits with him, a baby comes about, and now Hagar walk around like this, like she the poop, and now hey, I got Abraham's baby. Ishmael is born. Abraham's playing with Ishmael, and him and Hagar are having a family, and Sarah looking upon Sarah sad now. Now God has blessed Sarah with a baby named Isaac. Isaac comes out of the womb. Now Abraham has two sons, Ishmael and Isaac. Now, generally, your brother or your sister is an adversary. That fight with you, that pick with you, that joke about you, that talk about you. I do that with my brothers to this day, and I remember when I do that. It's natural. We bust on each other, talk about each other. So when she sees Ishmael picking on and mocking Isaac, she sees what he is doing as something that is bad. So she tells Abraham, this son of yours should not inherit it should not be with my son. He's a mocker. So what she saw as bad was really good, because sons, brothers fight each other. They wrestle with each other. They talk about each other. That's part of being a brother and a sibling. So Abraham must now kick his son out of the house. God tells him to do it. God says, I got Absalom, Ishmael, don't you worry about it. Her desire to fulfill God's purpose allow her to see something that was good as if it was bad. Your bad desires will kill you, thus causing war, causing unwanted problems in your life. Don't let your desires kill you. Like Satan, he wanted to be like God. It wasn't a problem with God until he wanted to be God. That's when the problem came in. If you want to be like somebody, don't lose your identity. If you want to be something, don't lose yourself. I'm almost done. I'm going to close you up with this. We all believe, Catholics were saying for years that Satan fell from heaven by Michael kicking him out of heaven. It was never true. Satan fell from heaven because of his sin. Michael never prevailed against Satan. Neither did Satan prevail against Michael. How do we know? Read the book of Daniel, read the book of Jude. Satan and Michael and Gabriel was fighting each other. And Satan and him, it was a rumble. But they never prevailed against each other. So Michael did not have the power or the strength to kick Satan out of heaven. Satan's sin, God didn't even do it. Satan's sin made him fall from heaven. Not Michael, not Gabriel, not his sin. His desire to be God, not be like God, be God, made him fall. What desires do you have that are killing you? Bad desires are killing you. Good desires kill you. But what bad desires do you have that are killing you? You don't want to be being killed in the wrong area of your life. Because the part that you might be killing may be the part that God wants you to keep. Examine yourself. Rewrite yourself. So let's go. Lord Jesus, we thank you for the opportunity to give me, Father, give this word into your children, Father. Allow them to distinguish between the good desires and the bad desires, Father. For the good desires are to kill us, so are the bad desires. But allow the bad desires to kill, and allow the good desires to kill them true selves, to kill that which you want to be killed. And allow them not to act on their bad desires, which kills them inside. Thus opening up more problems and more heartache for them, Father. I ask you to bless this word and touch them, my Father, into their hearts and their mind. In Jesus Christ's name. If you want to be part of this family, we welcome you. It's a very great big family. Just say, Lord Jesus, I welcome you into my life. I confess in my sins. I allow you in. Do a great work in me. Allow my desires to be fulfilled. Allow me to trust in you in all ways. I accept you as my Lord and Savior. In Jesus Christ's name. We believe now you are now saved, and now on a little secret, you are part of this great family. We are now half Jews, half Greeks, like Timothy. So, Mazel Tov. And we're going to have a bar mitzvah. One this life and the next life, but we're going to have that great feast. And I hope to see you next week for a new segment, a new way of life. It's going to be awesome. God bless you.